So, Altany Craik, you are the councillor for the Glenrothes area. Do you want to explain a bit more about what your position is and what you do?
Yeah, sure. I'm one of the councillors for Glenrothes West and Kinglassie, which is one of the 3 wards in Glenrothes, obviously. Sit on the Glenrothes area committee because of that. But as part of the administration, I'm the economy, tourism, strategic planning and transportation spokesperson for the joint administration. So I have a strategic role and I have my local role, so it keeps me busy.
Okay. And what we want to talk about today is I mean, it's obviously it's difficult times just now. I think if you were going to give anybody a message to anybody, if you're going to give a message to anybody, what would that message be where we are just now?
Well, it's a very straightforward one. Don't go out. Don't go out if you don't need to. Stay home. Follow the advice. We all know that's the advice, and yet bizarrely, we still see people not taking it seriously. I think the fact that Boris Johnson is now in intensive care and hopefully will make a recovery shows that it can get to anybody. So we really need to be following the advice. Stay in, wash your hands, don't have contact with people you don't need to. If they don't live in your household, they're not getting in. And it's that kind of, it's really simple, but it is so hard for everybody, and I know that, but we need to just do it.
Absolutely. I mean, I think I've been, in the last 2 weeks, I've been out 3 times. And literally I'm walking out the back door, or I go out for a run, that's about it. And you know, it's following the advice, I think, and it's challenging. So the Glenrothes community, how do you think they're coping?
Well, I think we're quite fortunate in Glenrothes because we have all the supermarkets all relatively close together. As a community, I'm seeing many fewer people walking about than there are. You see people going out for their daily exercise, they're walking their dog, and that's fine. And everyone is staying apart really well. So I think that's working quite well. People are understanding the social distancing part.
Yeah.
They're understanding that this isn't going to be this isn't the new normal. This is an emergency, and we're prepared to put up with it and deal with it. People seem to be reacting responsibly, I think, for the most part. Now, like all things, you'll have people who are not convinced that it's serious and they're messing about, and that sometimes happens. But in general, the community seems to be pulling together, trying to help their neighbours and so on. And I've noticed that when people see each other, I live in a fairly small street, but when people see each other, they're pleased to see each other, maybe more than usual.
Yeah.
If you follow me.
Yeah, I get it completely.
Which I think will build for the future going forward. Maybe we will be a bit more community oriented once we're out the other side of this. But I think when you see people queuing to get into Morrison's and the markers are on the ground to be apart, and you know, everybody's just playing the game. They're doing what they need to do. You see people with gloves on, see them taking real serious concerns about their health, and that's a good thing. I don't want people to be scared, but I do want them to take it seriously. And your postman leaving parcels on the day. Everybody seems to have accepted it's serious, I think. Now it's a big town. There's 50,000 people, give or take, and there'll be some people out there that won't recognise that's what they are seeing. But from that point of view, that's what I'm seeing. People are taking it seriously. They're trying to stick to it, and there's not this flouting of the rules going on too much. When you're going for your shopping, you have to go for your shopping. If you've got elderly relatives and you're doing that, then that's fine. But in real terms, people are actually doing it, which is great. I think that's the only way we're going to get.
We've got one person in our household that goes for the shopping. That's it. No one else. Well, I've never been in a shop in 2 weeks.
Well, we do it one at a time. I think whoever thought it'd be a battle to see who's going shopping, but yeah, that's what it's like. I mean, obviously the essentials, things like bread, milk, and vegetables. You can't avoid going shopping. But we're trying to limit it as much as possible. And when we do go, we get shopping for Linda's mum and dad at the same time, drop it off.
And we talk about, I noticed you touched on the aspect of the postie. I mean, literally these people are becoming local heroes now, essentially. You know, it's your posties, it's your refuse collectors. Wow! I mean, they used to get a hard time all the time, but everybody's taking their hats off to them now.
Well, I think we realise just how important it is that the things that we've taken for granted for years, we've probably not understood the real value of. When it all goes wrong, we're still relying on them to deliver our mail, to take away the rubbish and so on. And And I think one of the biggest things in my inbox, funnily enough, just now, is about the recycling centres are shut.
Yeah.
Now, I've done my garden and I can't take it away. We appreciate that. It is hard. There's just no staff. So getting your bins done is the key element, I suppose, of keeping it as normal as possible. It's going to be a wee bit different, but it seems to be working. But yeah, the posties. I think we've got our own postie, the amount of stuff that Linda orders, but you have to tell them you appreciate them, because I think it's a thankless job. They're doing it early in the morning, but now we're appreciating that these are the things that make our society work. So we need to keep them and understand them better for next time.
On a local basis, is there anybody else locally which you think would, in the Glenrothes area, maybe the local heroes?
I'm a bit, it must be a Scottish cringe thing, because the word hero always, I can't ever told you that, I'd be away, but it's people like the food banks and stuff. Now, we shouldn't have food banks in there. We can stick a pin in that and say we shouldn't have them, but we do have them. But the work they do is massive. And, particularly Glenrothes Food Bank, we supported through the council, we've done a lot of work with them. They touch so many people that we didn't know that the council can't reach, or people that wouldn't access help, they go through there. Or whether it's your St Ninians up in Tans Hall, or it's through the churches like Alan Kimmett at St Columba's or whoever. All of these people, they reach different people and they're supporting them. But the thing for me, I suppose, is that local residents seem to be just a bit more connected to each other. And that's something that I think has been diminishing over years. Now, it's not everywhere, and there's still some you don't know them by name and you don't know them by much about them, but I think that'll change. For me, it would be wrong to pick anybody particular, but there are a lot of people doing a lot of good stuff, and even if it's just helping a friend or a family member or an old person just down the road, that's good enough for me. I'm just pleased it's happening.
It's amazing the amount of people that have come out and volunteered to do
totally.
a lot of things locally.
Well, exactly. I mean, when you had the call to help the NHS, I don't think that's something that we would normally expect to be needed. The NHS is a big beast. Just to volunteer to support and deliver things to people, or to do things, we've got council workers whose role is non-business critical, redeployed to other, volunteering to be redeployed somewhere else.
Yeah.
And you think, it's that part of the whole, I think, is the thing that's improved most, I think, for me.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's absolutely fantastic. Definitely. I know what you mean about the local heroes thing, but there is a lot of people, just the unsung heroes of our society now, who are actually coming to the forefront. They've been there in the background all the time, doing it day in, day out, and all of a sudden, they are genuinely the people that have come forward and stepped up.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that's what I love most about Glenrothes. I mean, what do you love most about Glenrothes?
Well, see, I've lived here all my life, so I'm a bit terrible, isn't it? Born here, as such an internationalist, love to travel. I'm born here and I still live here. I love Glenrothes. Because it's a new town, it doesn't feel like anywhere else. To me, I've been all over the Fife campaign and what have you, but it doesn't feel like anywhere else. And it's got it's got its own kind of feel, and it can sometimes feel a bit anonymous. But I think actually what you've found is that because of that, what I love about it is that it's green, it's got loads of parks, it's got loads of stuff at the town centres. That I live in South Parks, which is very close to the town centre. All the amenities are there. It's got lots of good stuff. But for me, at this time, I think what I'm realising more and more when I look out my window and I'm at the shop or whatever, is that people get although they're worried, they've got a smile on their face. They're pleased to see each other, and I think there's less disgruntlement than usual. That sounds terrible. I live in a grumpy place. No, I don't. But what I mean is that people's own problems are no longer just their problems, if you know what I mean, because we've all got the same problem. There's a bit of pulling together kind of going on, and I think that for me, that's much improved. I just having lived in Glenrothes all my life, the sun's shining. What more could you want? It's a great place.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I love the parks particularly. Obviously, there's a social distancing thing going on just now, but there is a lot of green space in Glenrothes. Maybe a lot of people even don't know about it at all, and that's what I love about it the most.
That was the way it was designed. Obviously, it was meant to be like a garden town. It was meant to feel green,
Yeah,
and so, and with that comes some problems with trees in all sorts of places. But the parks make a huge difference, and nobody's very far away from something green to enjoy in Glenrothes. It's just, and everything's, well, not everything, but a lot of things are within walking distance, so you could just walk if you wanted to. The roundabouts are a bit getting used to, and I appreciate that if you've never done them.
yeah. Well, we know the nickname around about the city.
Spot the local, they're the ones that know how to do roundabouts. But no, it just, I think because it's got all its amenity quite close together, whether it's your sports centre, whether it's your parks, whether it's your town centre, whether it's a council, whatever, it's all meant, is my view, that, town was designed, as opposed to a lot of towns grow organically, so it can feel a bit odd. Ours at least was planned, and I think that's worked well. It's changed a lot over the years, obviously, but yeah, no, I do it. It has a different feel, and it's always been slightly different. A new town experiment for me, anyway, is a pleasure. I like it.
So when all this is over, what's the first thing you're going to do?
First thing I'm going to, well, I've got the dump on my trellis that Storm Dennis destroyed, but that's no probably what you meant. I think there'll be a lot of people just walking a lot more. I think that for me, obviously I walk to work quite a lot because I work close to the house, but there will probably be a go to the pub, or there will be a sort of meet up with friends that you've just not been. I'll probably go and visit friends, and then maybe go and visit my sister. She lives in Glenrothes as well. So,
Yep. All right, that's fantastic.
Online's fine.
Yep.
Text's fine. Phone's fine, but it's not the same. So,
there's nothing greater than actually just speaking to someone face to face, and actually getting that feel and that emotion. I definitely think it's heaven. It goes to your whole well-being, doesn't it? Really.
Well, I think it does, and I think the shaking hands thing that we'd all gotten really used to. Shake hands with everybody when you go into a meeting and whatever. I don't know if that'll be the same. I'm not convinced people will go back to that.
I think generally there'll be a lot of nervousness in the beginning.
Yeah,
but I think we'll go back to that eventually. The shaking hands. So. It's been a tradition forever, from the very beginning, since time began, I suppose. So I definitely think that we'll probably go back to it, but there'll be a lot of nervousness in the beginning. Yeah.
I think so. I think a lot of people in this period of restricted movement and lockdown, I don't like the word lockdown because it gives the wrong impression, but we are restricted in what we can do. We're trying to prevent the spread of the virus. I think people, the unwinding of that will not be instant. So it'll take a while for us to get used to going back to large gatherings, or used to being in places together.
Getting used to doing it again. Yeah, absolutely.
That sort of...
and it's restaurants. I mean, the first thing I'm going to do is probably sit in the Jasmine.
Well,
my love for the Jasmine restaurant can't be curtailed.
Well, you're right, but it's the social events that are going to maybe bring us closer together again in the end. It's funny how separating people off is actually going to have a benefit to community afterwards. So I think that'll be that. But yes, there'll be a lot of things that will just be try to do them. Go on holiday, I think, or being able to just go for a drive or whatever once this restriction is lifted. That'll make a big difference.
Yeah, good.
Like to drive off up to wherever, an hour and a half, either an hour from here, and you're in the Highlands. So it's the best thing about Fife, I suppose.
It's a fantastic location. I mean, you're straight onto the A92, and you can almost go anywhere you want. And then the train stations are close at hand, where you can take you anywhere you want in Scotland as well. So I absolutely love it for that reason. It's a real good central location. Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for your time, Altany.
It's a pleasure. Obviously, we're looking forward to this being over. But in the interim, I suppose the key thing to say to people is just stay at home, follow the advice. Don't let anybody in your house that's not meant to be there, and just do your best. And can I just say that for those people that were utterly reliant on key workers, I found out that there's a whole load of key workers we didn't know were as key to us, or hadn't appreciated quite so much. all the people that are out there still working and putting their lives on the line, risking their families and what first, you've got to appreciate that and say they're your real heroes if you want to use the real word. But no, it's hard for everybody, and keep our fingers crossed that we can get through it quicker.
Perfect. Okay, thank you so
Right,
much.
Jim, pleasure as always. You take care.